Well, I'd like to bring in Peter Zalmayev, a well-known face here on CNN. He's a director of the Eurasia Democracy Initiative, and he joins us now live from Western Ukraine. Good morning to you, Peter. I hope you are well.
Greetings.
Let me start with that announcement by President Zelensky that U.S. Secretaries of State and Defense will be visiting Kyiv today. If it does go ahead, because of course we haven't had the confirmation from Washington thus far, how symbolic will this visit be?
Well, obviously it has huge symbolic importance now that, not just the U.S., but, officials from other Western countries have announced that they're moving their embassies back to Kyiv. This is a vote of confidence that, Kyiv will, be able to resist, whatever, potential designs Russia may still have on it. It's been demonstrated convincingly that it can muster the necessary defense. There's still, by the way, shells hitting Kyiv sporadically. But now that we have seen this sort of willingness of Western officials to visit Kyiv and embassies to move back, I think there's an understanding that Russia's blitzkrieg in Kyiv has failed. They're going to try to continue make our lives miserable elsewhere. They're obviously staging an attack on the east of the country, but the main I think symbolism of this visit as well is that the Ukrainian state has survived.
Yeah, and when we hear President Zelensky say, I hope they don't come empty-handed with just cakes. What is it? I mean, what is he expecting here? We've heard the United States in one of the last few weeks announce $800 million or so of support. I mean, 2 packages in less than a few weeks. So what is he expecting?
Well, there's still critical needs for switchblade drones, for example. Ukraine may do with more javelins, but I think what we've heard from Zelensky recently is that there's, I think, sufficient weaponry by now to be able to withstand the onslaught in the east. Ukrainian officials have expressed increasing confidence that Ukrainians will be able to hold down their positions, and we've already seen, as a matter of fact, evidence that Ukrainians have been going on counteroffensives in the south and in the east. Mind you, Russians have not thrown all their forces into the battle for Donbass, but from what we're hearing, including from British intelligence, is that Russians are still disorganized. Their discipline is low. They're low on morale. They haven't been able to properly regroup, and as I said in our previous programs, the date is coming up, May 9th, which is the victory day of the Soviet Union over the Nazi Germany, and the generals are in a huge rush to provide Putin with some sort of victory, and so their hurry will also probably hamper their successes in the battlefields.
And speaking of victory, really, Peter, one city they were hoping to gain was Mariupol. There's still a holdout there. Large, significant number of people, civilians and soldiers inside that Azovstal steel plant. I want to get your thoughts, though, on the situation on the whole of Mariupol, where civilians are not just trapped, but also being tricked, it seems, by Russian forces.
Well, I have some of these fighters, brave fighters, and some of my, I know some of them. I've been able to, get in touch with them by phone in the last few days. There does seem to remain at least 1,000 civilians in that plant, and I'm not going to disclose, but a significant number of fighters. And the Ukrainians have claimed that they've been able to resupply them, which probably will go down in history books as another incredible feat. These fighters, essentially, I would just say that these fighters are the ones that have kept Ukrainians fighting. They have enabled Ukrainians to beat Russians back around Kyiv by tying Russian troops up in and around Mariupol. They have done an incredible feat there. I mean, they will go down in history books, and it's going to be very, very difficult for the Russians to dislodge them. It's been 6 weeks already. And so Mariupol is a preview of things to come. There's the towns of Kramatorsk and Slavyansk the Russians are going to try to take. Well, these are going to be more Mariupols, I think, and they should really think twice before attempting them.
Peter, I would like to keep the conversation going. Hopefully we can talk in the next few days. I'm very interested in the conversations that you are having, of course, with these Ukrainian fighters inside the Azovstal steel plant. But good to hear that they're being resupplied because, of course, given the situation is very dire indeed. Peter Zalmayev, always great to have your thoughts and your insight. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.